In this video, we're going to be discussing microcurrent facelifting technology. And this is really taking the place of elective surgery because everybody knows when you exercise a muscle, it is healthy for it, it enlarges it, and it's much more beneficial than a cut, tuck, and a pull. Even plastic surgeons are aiming themselves toward microcurrent facelifting because it is very beneficial and it's a healthy alternative. Once again, our electronics is the galvanic current. The microcurrent facelifting machine utilizes the galvanic current, which means it has a positive and a negative pole, an anode and a cathode. Now, I didn't really mention this in the galvanic current, but it's important to know that the positive pole is called the anode, and the negative pole is called the cathode. And you may think Luigi Galvani was smoking weed when he named them, because if anaphoresis is forcing negative solution through the negative pole, why didn't he name the negative pole the anode? Kind of doesn't make sense until you realize that he named it for the attraction. The anode will attract a positive and the cathode will attract a negative. So it comes together, and when we're using our microcurrent facelifting, we're using a positive and a negative. Now, this machine is from China, okay, and it doesn't tell you which one's positive and negative, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're using them correctly. One of these is going to be called a stationary electrode down here, and the other one is going to be called the movable electrode. The example I put up here was the eye, when technically I should have used the mouth because I'm not going to take my glasses off. I can't see what I'm doing. But if we're working around the mouth, the muscle that goes around the mouth, the origin is right here under the philtrum, and there's another origin right here. So there's two origins. So when I'm working on this muscle, the stationary probe goes on the origin. The movable goes on the insertion, and that's the correct position. When it's down here, this is the correct. See, this is movable. This is stationary. But if they aren't aimed to each other exactly this way, the positive and the negative can't pull together. The negative has to pull the positive, and that's what causes the muscle to exercise. When you're working in the eye area, the stationary electrode is going to go on the hairline. This ought to be cute. And the movable electrode, okay, is going to be placed under the eyebrow, where because it's movable, I'm going to push it up. I'm going to lift. But they have to be facing each other. And I'm going to do it at the beginning of the brow, at the arch of the brow, and at the end of the brow. So maybe over here you can see a little bit better if I take this and push it up so that they're coming together. This is how I'm using the tools. It's very important then that when I'm studying my anatomy, I know the origins and the insertions, or I'm not going to be able to use the tool safely and correctly. Now, it's interesting to know, remember, we've been talking about electricity. Hello, this is 30, the electricity class. And electricity is vital to your body's health. For a body to be healthy, you need 62 to 68 megahertz of energy. That's electrical energy that comes through your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system and the brain. I've got to have this energy coming. When I lose energy, and if I drop down to 58 megahertz, that's when I can get the common cold, the flu, and I'm prone to be getting sick. Doesn't mean I will, but it means I'm prone to. If I drop down to 42 megahertz, then the cancer can become prominent in my body, and I need the numbers in between are like Epstein-Barr, Candida, and as I lose energy, okay, that leaves me prone to picking up diseases because my body can't fight it off effectively. I think that this is one reason I almost never get sick, is because I'm always using the galvanic and the high frequency currents. I'm always keeping that electrical energy up in my body. I think it's really important. The contraindications, of course, are for the galvanic current. So when we studied our galvanic current, we went into the contraindications pretty clearly. Here, they're the same. Any heart disorder. So if the client tells you she's listing medications, you have to know what they're for. If they're diabetic and taking insulin, I need to know, because this is the negative and the positive current flowing through the body, and it can increase that. Any female issues. What method of birth control is more crucial to this than anything? Because I can neutralize an IUD and it can end in an unwanted pregnancy. Not nearly as much as the actual galvanic current, because this tool is micro. It's not nearly as powerful as your typical galvanic current when you're doing your galvanic treatments. This is a lot more mild. Okay, when I'm going to do a facial or a microcurrent facial, I kind of need to make sure that my client understands what her responsibility is. And the first thing you have to tell her is that 24 hours before her appointment, she needs, that day before, she needs to drink a lot of water. Why? Well, because water's the conductor of electricity that's going through my body. So if I'm dehydrated, I'm not going to get the same benefit I would get as if the electricity could flow through my body like it's supposed to. No large meal 1 hour before, so don't have her eat dinner at 5 o'clock and come in for a 6 o'clock appointment. The body is trying to digest food, and it inhibits the other parts of the body to release energy. No sun, massage, scrubs, or masks 24 hours after your facial. After your treatment, because I need the muscles to have a chance to form. It would be kind of like, when you go to the gym and work out, you're not going to go, well, you might go out and lay in the sun. Who knows what you would do. But when it comes to the face, you want to do as little activity on the muscular structure of your face as you can. Now, the muscle test is important, and this little guy gets overlooked even by me, and I know better, and I have the scars to prove it, and I am going to do show and tell. I will take my glasses off for this. I don't want to, okay, because I use them as a camouflage for the allergy bags that I have under my eyes. I'm not too proud of those, but they're a given, and they're from allergy, which I'm not going to get rid of. But the muscle test is where your client is going to sit with both feet flat on the floor, and so are you, okay? So as I sit facing my client, and she's facing me, I'm going to put my hands up like this, and I'm going to have her put her hands on my hands, okay? So my hands are stationary, and they're up here, and then her hands, she's going to push against my hands. And when she pushes, one side may be weaker than the other. For me, it's my left side. When we did the muscle test and I pushed, the student who was doing me said your left side is weaker than the right side. Other students who took the test, their pressure was equal. Not everybody is unequal. Some people, the right side was a little weaker than the left side. So you need to do the muscle test, because if you don't, you have not equalized the electrical system called meridian points in the body. Your meridian points are very much a part of the Asian culture. It's very much a part of your lymph drainage massage that we'll be learning. It's because the electrical flow to my body. Now, the two meridian points that we're going to be talking about are the two right back here on the back of your neck. So if you take your fingers, you'll feel a depression meridian point 1, meridian point 5, because they're mirrored image to each other. Okay, so 1 and 5. You have to have equal electrical conductive parts to your body. It's important. I can show you why it's important. I wasn't doing it, okay? And the guy I bought the machine from, I asked him, I go, why do I still have wrinkles here, but I don't have them over here? Why do I still have these little tiny wrinkles here, but I don't have them over here? Why do I have the little tiny wrinkles here, but I don't have them there? Okay, the left side of my body was not responding equally to the right side. You know what that fool told me? It's because when you drive, the sun hits the left side of your face. And I'm looking at him going, that might be the cause for pigmentation. I can see that, but what does that have to do with my muscles? What does that have to do with the way my muscles are responding? So I ignored that. Then, okay, I went back and started looking through all of my handouts, and I found the handout on microcurrent facelifting. And lo and behold, I reread the muscle test. I wasn't doing it. So if you don't do it, then the client isn't going to have the same response on both sides of her face. I'm living proof. Now, if the pressure is uneven, and mine's the left side, so I put my middle finger in the 11th cranial nerve or the 5th meridian point, and I massage it securely. I'm using quite a bit of pressure for about 12 circles, okay? And then in your right ear, and it's right here, it's not in the ear, don't be sticking your finger in somebody's ear, that's disgusting. Okay, but you're going to, you know how we say hang in your ear? That's kind of what you're going to do. See this little loop in my ear? I'm going to place my finger in it, and then I'm going to apply pressure, and I'm going to count to 10 with that pressure. And that's going to equalize my meridian points, or the electrical circuit, as it were, in my body. I need to equalize that current. If the pressure is even, and she's not uneven, you only do the right ear. And that's it. That's all that you do for this particular thing. Now, in Cosmo 38B and C is where you'll be learning a lot more microcurrent facelifting. I think it's in C, okay? 38C is when Miss Van Callen is going to be going over with you the actual procedures and such. In 38B, I'm going to be going over more anatomy with you, because if you don't know the origin and the insertion, you can't use these effectively or safely. You could actually give them a wrinkle. I actually gave myself a wrinkle right here, and I know what I'm doing. Now I can just see you, a client's paying you $1,000 for a series of microcurrent facelifts. 2 weeks later, she has an extra wrinkle. Really? That's not going to fly. You're not going to be safe in the parking lot when you go to leave if you give somebody a wrinkle. I'm not paying you to give me a wrinkle. So if anatomy is not something you want to know, then don't do microcurrent facelifting. But if you want to do microcurrent facelifting, then you need to know your anatomy. I also need to understand my nervous system, because my nervous system runs on electricity. If I don't understand how my sensory and motor receptors function, then I'm not going to understand the full benefits of the electrical. As you can see now, we've done the skin, we've done the basic electricity, we've done the nerves up to this point, and then we did the galvanic, and you see how that's related. We did the high frequency, and you see how that's related. Now we're doing microcurrent facelifting, and you can see how it's all related and intertwined with each other. I have to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. There's a complete handout. you have only a partial, you only have the first 2 pages in your module 3, okay? But in the microcurrent facelifting class, you'll be given all of it. It has the pictures of all of the muscles, their origins, their insertions. In 38B, I have you diagramming a mannequin head with the muscles and the origin and the insertion, where the nerve ending is, so that I can actually have my client benefit from the services that I'm wanting her to receive.